Hello, everybody. Dzień dobry, and thank you for inviting us. Like Marta said, this is Estella, I'm Thomas, and we're from Bibliotek Verkstad. We have so much to tell you about our building and about the things that we do, so we're going to speed up the things a little bit and then get to the point that has to do with communication that we actually don't know too much about, but we're going to tell you how we do it. But let's start by using this clicker and show you an image of the building where we work. So has anybody been in Stockholm? Few, yes. Okay, so those of you who have been knows that the main rynek is this Sergels Torg, the checkered square. We're the building right behind it. It's a big commercial district. Nobody lives there. It's nobody's space. Yet it's everybody's space because there's nobody's home. It's just a place where there's lots of commercial and banks and stuff, and a big house of culture. This building, as you can see, there's a bit of statistics here, has 2.9 million visitors. Mind you, Stockholm is a city of, it's not too big with, international measures. It's roughly 2 million people in the STA. Yet we have 2.9 million visitors, 5,245 events, 13 stages. That is theater, music, dance, all sorts of things. Yesterday when I left work, there was a cinema showing at the Canadian Embassy, there was a big play, there was all kinds of things. So how do we stand out? As Marta said, we're a specific place for people in a specific age group. It's very hard to be heard in a place that has that many visitors, that many events. Yet we would like to tell people, our visitors, about us. Yes, and so.
Yeah, so Lava Kulturze has been, it was its 40th birthday last year, and Lava is now 20 years old, and started as a kind of library, as an archive for, this was before internet, as you remember, so there were fanzines, and there were demos, and there were like videos that young people made, so they could come there and leave them, and you could check everybody else's art out. And so this from there it grew, and it has always been like a meeting place for young creative people, and many great artists also have made use of Lava over the years. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay.
There's supposed to be a GIF. The dogs are supposed to move a little bit for you to get
Exactly.
entertained while we were, babbling along. Yet, mind you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we work with a specific age group of 14 to 25, and try to make both, inspire them and also make their cultural expression visible.
Right. So in the building that has all those things that we showed at first, all of that we want to push into this space that we have, but only like with our specific age group. And when we talk about, when we have to look at ourselves and be a little bit critical and see like, what do we achieve or don't achieve? We have three perspectives that we like to talk about that we think makes it easier to assess. And we'd like to tell you about those and then get back to them later. The first one is the audience. And so in our case, it's the 14 to 25-year-old. That means, if we have in our space that's in this building at our stage, if we have a dance performance, audience are the people, that are obviously watching, culture for somebody. Participants, so the people that are actually in the dance troupe, or the people that are joining the discussion or part of the workshop, culture with somebody, and the creators/producers, somebody that's a creator that does something. So these are three steps, the three different angles that we'd like to take in consideration whenever we assess or talk about things amongst ourselves, to try and be a little bit more critical to see where we're going and if we're actually achieving our goals. Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna just show a little bit where we are, the space that we're in. And so we are a library, and you can use the same, we're part of the same public library system of Stockholm, so you use the same library card, but we are specific, so we don't. We can choose whatever books we want to buy. And yeah, so in this building that we're in, Kulturze, there are also 6 libraries in total, so we're 1 out of 6. And we try to bring in suggestions from our audience, so they can say whatever books they want to read, and we buy them, and we try to be very fast, like getting the new stuff into us. And also work with unsigned like authors and poets for readings and stuff like that. And mostly in Swedish, English, and easy language, easy reader, I could say. Yeah, so here are also some numbers. We're quite a small library, as you can see, 4,000 books, but many visitors. Some many come just to not borrow books. So as you can see, you can also do stuff on the side. But we also try to expand the idea of what a library can be, which is a big debate in Sweden now, and maybe here too. So we are now, you can borrow musical instruments on the same library card as you borrow books. And later this year, we're also making a tool library, so you can also borrow a drill if you need one, just so you don't have to buy one. And yeah, basically the library is we're always thinking about like what can it be? Now you can sew in a library, and that's fine for us. So we try.
Yeah. And just like Estella said, so when somebody asks us to get a book, we try to get the book. But if somebody asks us to get a trombone, we try to get a trombone so that people can bring it home with the library card free of charge. Okay, and then the other part that is the warsztat, like I heard that you said it in Polish, the workspace is the makerspace has always been like a key part of Lava. You know, there's always been materials, there's things to do, and we'd like to keep it at different levels so that somebody can come and actually tailor a suit or just get your nails done. To keep it at different levels. There's like badges, there's a 3D printer. 3D printer is an excellent thing. So many kids come in and they're like, how much is a 3D printer? We're like, it's expensive, but you don't have to get it because you can come here every day and use it. As long as you just come in and get like an introduction to it, a workshop, so that you know how to use it. And then after that, come and use it every day. We have lots of old school analog stuff that's really, really like a high demand for. Screen print. Estella here is a photographer. You have like Photo Lab every once in a while. These are workshops that are continuous, that comes back, and that has been going over the years. So screen printing, sewing, there's machines such as sewing machines, 3D printer, all kinds of stuff that would be pricey. Equipment, tools, and materials. So people can come and they don't have to bring anything, or they can come with the project that they're already working with and ask to get help to move along. There's an audio lab with like a DJ kit. There's different workspaces. There's a recording studio where people work with podcasts and such. And of course, workshops and introduction and how to use the equipment and the different programs.
And then also a big part of what we do is helping young people to make their projects, their ideas, make them come through. We can here. Yeah, so it can be anything, like the ideas that come from visitors. They can be exhibitions, as you can see here. This is like our gallery space outside our entrance. Concerts are arranged by young people. Film screenings, maybe there's a group that has made a film and they want to show it. And we can also, which is a great thing, we can help them to get a grant, like a financial support from the city of Stockholm. So they can apply for maybe printing costs or whatever what it costs to make a concert, or pay somebody or like a DJ or whatever. And yeah, so they can get up to 10,000 crowns, which is maybe 3,000
I think you need more, like 4,000 zloty or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, the costs are always different in different places, so it's hard to know. But one could say that generally, when producing art or any kind of culture, there's always a fee. And if you're, I don't know, 17-year-old and you're in school, that fee might be a lot of money. And so we're trying to help with that and also be fast in doing that. Getting back to people. How would you like to plan your event? How can you make use of us? Because in our locale with the library, we're also able to roll away all the shelves and be like, okay, take over the space. You want to put up a stage? We'll get rid of the books for you. You want to do this? Okay, sure. Be our boss. We're your facilitator. We're your assistant.
Yeah, and one of the things that is that makes our all the projects so diverse is also that they are initiatives from young people. We could never think about all the projects that they want to do, because then we would be, thinking all day long. But because we can say yes to all the ideas that they have, we get a very diverse program.
Right. So moving along, we have a little film clip. Not sure how we could play it.
How do we do this?
What? Say play?
Okay.
Play, please. All right.
Okay, but this is...
Perhaps that didn't work. But meanwhile, I'll tell you. So why are we telling you about this? Well, we'd like you to get an idea of what we do and where we work. But we'd also like you to tell you... Adres Niemal? Is there something strange? Okay, well, maybe we'll just have to move along.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to send you the film, or you can find it. We'll, get in touch with us, say hello afterwards, and we'll show it to you, because it's a great film. The reason why we want to show the film is that it's a film that's made out of one of the reoccurring gigs that people did. They got funding to do a film, hire a filmmaker, and edit it and everything. It looks great. We wouldn't have the, time, energy, idea, or money to do that even. But the people that come, our creators, our visitors, they do. So our point is, that we're going to go to, is how do we reach our audience? And here's a little GIF with, old school clip art man, flashlight. You can imagine him going around. Because that's a key question. In Stockholm, which is a very segregated city, it's vast, it's spread out, roughly 2 million people. A lot of people live in suburban areas, some people live a little bit more central. For us, it's super important that our building and what we do is relevant to youth around the city. And so we're going to have to, look at how do we find out if we're succeeding in that or not. And that's a question that a lot of the different galleries, such as the National Gallery, such as museums and the art schools, for instance, are struggling with. They're like, we want to also, get your visitors. How do we do it? And we're like, oh, we don't know. But we know a little bit, and we're going to try to tell you a little bit about it in the few minutes that remain. We are not amazing people when it comes to communication. As you can see, this is an image that we use, such as this, to explain, what goes on this week. Information that we use on, Facebook or Instagram. It's not fantastic. Anybody here can make a better version than we can. Yet, it works. Because what we want to try to say is that, we have reoccurring things, such as the book talk, such as the screen print lamp, such as the DJ workshop, get introduction, and also other things that are listed there, such as express yourself with art. That was a class aimed towards people that spoke Arabic, like newcomers and asylum seekers. So we can do an extra push for that. Yet here we just like to tell you that, okay, this week this is what goes on, instead of a newsletter or such. And as we said, there's all these things that happen. We need to inform somehow. So to us, this was a little bit of a cheap and funny way to tell people about what we're doing each week.
Yeah, this is the big website of the whole building, Kulturze Stadsteatern. It probably won't work, so I'm going to tell you. So we are one of this little, so it's different parts of this big building. And for our visitors, it's quite hard to click all the way into our specific place, Lava Bibliotek Verkstad. But when we have events that we put on to this website, it's really a great thing for them to somehow be part of this big culture arena that the building is.
So basically, a 15-year-old having, her first photo exhibit might be next to Zadie Smith comes and talks about her new book.
In the calendar, yeah.
On the webpage.
Yeah, and we're also part of the ticket system in the building, because it's a theater house, as you can see. So for our workshops, we sell tickets, and this is one of the keys to get people to come, even if it's early Sunday morning, because if you have a ticket, even if you paid only 10 crowns, so you can see that's not, I mean, it's a symbolic fee.
You won't even get a cup of coffee for 10 crowns.
Yeah, but you get, this is for a DJ workshop, so they can also buy it at home with a card, or they can buy it at our place, but with a ticket, it's more likely that they actually show up.
Yeah, and I know that you're all thinking like, oh, this sounds so old school, these Swedes are so left behind. And maybe we are, but it works for us and it works for our clients, because when they get the ticket, they come. When we had no tickets, we tried that a while for the screen printing lab. Come, we're open every Sunday, come, sign up, sign on a list. People did that, they didn't show up. Now they get a ticket and it's booked. Every Saturday that we have the screen printing labs, people come. We use Facebook, obviously, super old school. Nobody that's young is like, oh, Facebook, that's cool. But it's a great place to, sort out information, to say, oh, we're closed on Thursday, or like, we're open this day. People can get in touch with us, and they do. Instagram, because we're located where we are, we have a responsibility for the community. So I'll show you this image instead. This was, I don't know if you heard, of 2 weeks ago, there was a suspected terrorist attack with somebody hijacking a truck driving in on our main shopping street. And so this was like the day after people showed, or 2 days after, people showed up for this big manifestation. This is right outside our windows, mind you, so that we have a responsibility when things happen outside to also communicate, to be part of a community. And we can see that that generates a lot of likes and such.
Yeah, and we also are still very analog and old-fashioned. This is a little folder that we hand out to individuals or groups that come to us with the information of calling, and also a little bit about our programs and stuff.
And
we have some, so just ask us later and you can get one of these. We have a few, so early birds.
And that is a production that is, we printed on our printer. The big Kulturhuset, we have a paper, a newspaper size, full with information. Mind you, again, more than 5,000 events per year. It's very easy to disappear in that. So we're still in need of these super old school things, such as a piece of paper to give to somebody and put in their hand.
This is just an example. We don't have maybe time for this. Many of the projects that young people do, but by themselves, it's much more. They get a much larger audience than we could ever get, because they have their own contacts. And this was something that was very viral, and we had, for a small exhibition, we had an audience of 1,500 people coming for the opening, which was a little, whoa.
Right.
So here you can see the
yeah,
queue.
that's outside. So actually, to get back to that, these are the 3 images again. How do we get the people to come? Well, they need to do their own advertisement, because we can never reach out. We can stand outside, we can stand on a square in our windows and scream, come inside, there's lots of fun things happening. People aren't going to know. But if somebody is actively doing a photo exhibit, what was it? 1,500 people showed up at the opening. We could never have reached that many people ourselves. But when we encourage people to oh, tell your friends, tell everybody, tell the news, they might. Sometimes maybe 10 people show up. Sometimes 200. We don't interfere with that. We're okay with either way. But when we try to look at the statistics and we differ these things, we can see that okay, audience 80,000, 1,100 participants, 370 active. That's where we're going to want to go. That's the people that are going to make those 250 people a day come. Estella and I, we're friendly and nice, but we're not going to make people, find their way to us, but the other people will. And, one important thing also, to do surveys all the time. Super old school, not very exciting. interesting to find out, like, where do people live? Do they live in the suburbs? You know, do we have a diverse cultural and economical background? We know that culture in itself is very inaccessible for a lot of people in our city. So we try to be as accessible as possible. Our time is out. This is another super old school thing that we do.
This is a little wall with just notes that people can come with suggestions if they don't want to tell us like in our face, so they can say, you know, your I don't know, whatever sucks, or
get the trombone. Get the trombone was on the wall. A week later, we had a trombone.
Yeah. So we can also answer this and show who's working today. Making little badges with our faces on.
So to run it out, the way that we do it is that we don't really do it. We ask other people to do it. We're like, okay, we're going to step backwards. Take our space, take our time, take our resources. We're in a great building. There's a wig makers department. Ask us for anything you want, and we'll try to make the most of it. You know, here's the key. We actually hand out keys sometimes and be like, okay, go inside. We have to go to a meeting. Why don't you go inside and work? Give up space and power, and then people will do the work for you, or for us, that works at least.
Yeah, this is our art director, you could say. So her tips are cute animals, bright colors, do-it-yourself aesthetics, and overall internet vibe on our, the whatever folders we do, or things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so come by afterwards. We're so happy to be here. We'd love for you to come, you know, and show you around, and we hope that you will come. Okay, now we're going to get thrown off stage, so we're going to hand it over. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Please stay for a while. Czy ktoś z Państwa ma jakieś pytania do prelegentów? I też wiem, że jesteśmy gotowi z filmem. We are ready with the movie if we want to see it.
Okay, is there time?
Okay, so yeah.
Okay,
we'll see.
because we were just babbling so fast, we thought this might be like a still idea.
Okay, so proszę powiedzieć nad pytaniami i oglądamy film.
To say 2 words about that. That was a free jazz impro, super, you know, it was great. And actually some very professional musicians showed up. Would they have showed up if we asked them, or if Kulturze had asked them? No. Will they show up when a 17-year-old is like, hey, I'm a nerd who plays saxophone, and I'd love for you to come and like be part of this workshop? They come. Did they get funding? Yes, they got funding from the grant that we talked about. So, you know, we could never have done this event, the film, or anything that's so great about it. You know, even though it wasn't like a 1,000 visitor, you know, audience thing, we're so proud of the people that come, and they do it all the time for us. All right. Sorry.
Thank you very much.